Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be installing and unboxing these BC Racing RM series coilovers for a Mini Cooper R50, R52, R53. So yeah, let's get into it. So here's the first impressions of the inside of the box. Got some stickers, authentication, I think there's a couple more things in there. Installation instructions, yeah, and some boring bits in there. Oh wow, look at these. So these are the fucking bad boys. So yeah, like I said, this is the RM series. Has the adjustable dampening, which obviously just connects at the top. Yeah, so anyway, that's the front. And then that's the rears. All the mounts are nice and solid. Japanese rose joint type style bushes, I believe. All adjustable height. Can't remember what the spring was. Alright guys, so now I'm just going to sort of wing it and see how it goes installing these new BC coilovers. Socket in the wrong place. So in my case that was just 19mm nuts to take the nuts off, and then so you probably want to get some WD-40 or some sort of penetrate oil, spray up all the bolts, and then yeah, get into removing. You want to do the bottom shock mount over there. And then yeah, the 3 tower ones on the front. May have to pull some other bits out of the way, but we'll see once I sort of get into it. Actually, definitely going to have to remove the anti-roll bar links, so I better get some on there as well. Possibly the track rod end. Yeah. So the rear pinch bolt on the shock is a 18mm. So if you just undo that, depending on if you've had your shocks off recently, depends on how easy that will obviously come undone. Normally they're quite rusted. I don't know if you can see. That is not the best condition really. but you can sort of clean that out as well with a wire wheel. I believe with nuts on top of 13mm. So let's try that. Just run the adapter. Let's have a look. Yeah, 13s. Oh, another good thing to note actually is spray it around the base of the shock where it goes into the upright, because that can just help with sort of uninstalling the part. And then we'll get to putting a bit of grease on the new coilovers once we get round to that. Just going to keep all that hardware up there. So, if you press down, I should release the shock from the top mount. See, I know some people have some good luck and they can press this down and then pull the shock out like that, or you may actually have to take apart sort of the bottom ball joint on the upright or the out of control. So I'm just going to see if I can do it. Yeah, see, as expected, the control arm ball joint, inner ball joint, sort of bottoms out there. So I'll probably have to take apart the bottom, ball joint. Okay, so now you want to get a 17mm, stick it on the outer track rod, buzz that off. Be careful not to spin the ball joint within itself, because that's how you wear it. Creates excessive wear. Sometimes you may have to place a jack underneath if you've got an older part on there, but I replaced them not too long ago, so they're nice. And then using an 18mm, you want to come down underneath and wind off the nut there. That's for the bottom ball joint. The next step's not advisable, but you can use a ball joint splitter, or to be honest, I like to give the edge of the upright steel a whack, and sometimes that actually sends the sort of tapered surface out. Okay, instead of that, I'm going to try a punch through the centre. Just don't hit straight on there, otherwise you'll destroy the threads. There we go. That's come off. Keep that to the side. I like to keep the nuts on there just so sort of ease of putting it all back together. Something you want to do is pull this ABS line off, just like that, and then the brake line just like that. So I'd say at this point, what I'm going to do is try to work the shock out. I'm not sure if it will go anywhere, but we'll just have a go. Oh, actually, I have forgotten something. What was that? 19. Just need to undo the drop links. Again, if these are spinning in the ball joint, I think if you get a 17 mil spanner, and you go up the back side, oh, you guys can't see really. I'll give you an example. So these are the ones that come with the BC Racing kit. They're just shortened over the original ones. And basically behind this cap there should be okay, there isn't with these, but on the original ones you can normally get 17 mil in behind, and then obviously buzz the nut off from the front. Yeah, I'm just going to try to do that and then I'll get back to you. Alright, so now you can see this is the original shock and sort of McPherson strut on the left, and this is the new coilover. They obviously come out of the box a little bit shorter, so really what I need to do is get the other side front out and sort of make them equal height, because I know it's quite hard to sort of measure it once it's in the car. But yeah, so I'll do that and then sort of fine tune them and away we'll go. Okay, so I've lined up the front coilovers next to the original suspension that was on here. I've reduced it by 2 inches. That might be too much, but it might not be. You can obviously adjust them once they're on. I just thought I'd sort of have a sort of base setting just to begin with. So sort of once you're ready with that, you want to, just to protect and stop, reduce the corrosion, on the inside of the upright, you want to clean up. Just use some sort of wire brush or whatever you think, Scotch-Brite maybe, and then if you have some sort of grease, I'd say copper grease would be preferred. You want to stick some grease around the base here and on this flange here where the bolt goes through, sort of a positioning pin. And then once you've done that, you want to obviously get the shock, put it in, do the nuts up loosely on top on the strut tower, and then you can sort of mess about down here. So I've got copper grease. You only want to use, sort of do a thin layer. I'm going to put a bit on the inside of the collar, and then also on the shock itself. If you just do that sort of all the way around, it just sort of makes it easier, and also, yeah, like I said, protects it from rusting up. So now I'm going to grab the shock and I'm going to attempt to bring it in over the top of everything. Probably want to grab it lower down. And then just with my fingers, I'm going to tighten up the nuts. just enough, like that. Yeah, so now you've got the shock sort of chilling in there. It's good because now it will make it easier for adjusting the height if need be. Yeah, I suppose so the next bit is to try get the shock back in the sleeve, line it up, stick the bolt on. I'm going to go clean this bolt up now, and then yeah, we'll so just going to stick a bit of copper grease on this bolt. Where it sort of sits not threaded in, that can rust up as you saw, so I've just cleaned that up with a wire wheel and a brush. Yeah, so that's all good, that's ready to go. Just don't get any bits in it. You'll need the jack to get under the lower mount and to slide the upright onto the base of the coilover. If you haven't removed the axle from the hub, you want to make sure that the bearings go back in before you try and force it, because that could actually be stopping you from lifting the hub back up. That's the problem I just had, so want to get it so it slides in a little bit just like that. And then, like I said, this tab over here is the alignment for the pinch bolt. So you want to sort of spin it around so it can line up. Don't worry about sort of the front mounts or anything at the moment, because that can be dealt with after. So yeah, so now sort of just feed up slowly with the jack until oh, I have actually slipped off. Just need a bit more height. There we go. Line it up. There we go. Bring it all the way up. There we go. There is actually a bump stop, which I didn't realise, on the BC Racing coilover, which actually just sits perfectly against the upright. So that's one sort of maintenance benefit when you ever have to take it out again. So you can see if that bolt goes in. Yeah. Threading it in a little bit by hand, and then I'm going to get the impact gun with the 18 mil. Yeah. So I'm only going to do it up a little bit tight for now with the impact gun, because I'm going to torque it down. If you've got sort of a Haynes manual or sort of workshop manual for the minis, obviously all the torque specs are on there. It actually says in the BC Racing coilover section to use the sort of factory torque specs, so I assume they've built it to with. So that's now sort of in and up. I'm actually going to take the ABS line, hook that back on, hook the brake line back on, sits in there nice. And well, for the basic installation, that's basically there. So basically I'm going to button everything else up, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so the next thing is installing these anti-roll bar drop links. So you just got to make sure you put them on the right way round. So these sort of go in that side, with the bottom bit facing, the nut facing towards the rear of the car. So you just want to slide them in. Make sure you're not sort of crossing over the brake line or anything. You can bend them sort of into shape to fit. So there we go. That's slid in, and then just put the nuts on. I believe they're 17s as well. There is actually a bit in the end of the thread for a Allen key sort of bit. That could be helpful if you're doing it with a spanner. So I'm going to sort of try it like that. If that doesn't sort of go to plan, then I'll try something else. So I'm going to stick that on the gun. Again, you don't want to do this up too tight, but you can torque that later on. Stick the 17mm spanner around the nut. Then just like that, you get that in on there. Obviously you got to be careful. And then with the lower one, the exact same thing. Just repeat the process. There we go. Just going to nip that up a bit more. 5mm. There we go, so that's tightened up. Next you want to go around, sort of torque up everything that you have had undone, which I'll give you the torque specs. Got a Haynes manual here. So the anti-roll bar link, the nuts that that part that we just put in, that is 56 Newton meters. If you do take the drive shaft hub nut off, that is 182 Newton meters. The sort of lower arm outer ball joint is 56 Newton meters, which is down here, this one, and then the track rod end is actually different. No, sorry, it is the same, which is 52 Newton meters over here. It does actually say do not reuse, but I mean that's down to your own discretion. So yeah, once that's all sort of tightened up, oh actually I'm forgetting the shock. So the base of that suspension strut to hub carrier pinch bolt is 81 Newton meters. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead now and torque them up, and I'll see you after that. There we go. There we go. So there we go, that is all on now. Obviously your sort of height settings down to sort of personal taste. and obviously damping settings down to taste. The best way to do it is obviously set it down with the wheels on, test to see if it's not rubbing, sort of go lock to lock as well, and then sort of take it for a ride, see how it feels. I believe if you make sort of stiffer on the front, sort of it will increase understeer, but if you reduce it, make it softer, it can actually you can actually get more oversteer. So yeah, I'm gonna just finish off the front and then we'll move on to the rear. Hi guys, yeah, so now we're on the rear. It's 2 bolts holding it up at the top, and then if you come down round behind, there is a rubber cap here that just needs prying off with a flathead screwdriver or something, and then yeah, just undo that. May have to undo the anti-roll bar drop link, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm going to do that. There we go. So that's off. Alright, so that's a 22mm socket on there. Alright, so now I've got that bottom bolt out, that's there. I'm going to go ahead and try to remove them up the top. Just a bit rusty. Okay, around the back, you got the flexi hose, disconnect, and the brake pad wear sensor and ABS. There we go, there's the old shock out. So really the next thing, because there's no access from inside to access the adjustable dampening valve on the new shock, you are going to have to drill some sort of hole. The kit does come with these extensions, and they've just got a little grub screw on the side. And they literally just screw straight onto the original handles on the strut. I'll show you. That original strut comes up somewhere around sort of here. So yeah, you're just going to have to do that. Okay, so what I've done is I got my drill in there, and then there's like a factory dimple in the sheet metalwork. I was able to drill a hole. I've drilled a 10mm hole, and with access through the side panel here, there's two clips on there that just popped off. And if you can see in here, you have the adjuster there. Obviously that will come through more once it's shocking, but yeah, at least that sort of should help you guys. Okay, so I manoeuvred the coilover in over the top, and then with one hand sort of held the shock, and with the other I tightened up the extender for the bias valve. So I stuck the bolts in sort of loosely by hand, so I'm just going to do them up, and then you'll be pretty much there. And then obviously you've got a height check and everything, but yeah. Okay, so those two upper bolts, they're to be tightened to 56 Newton meters. And then yeah, so I just got the bottom one left, and then yeah, I'll start on adjustment. Okay, so adjusting the preload, you want to set the spring between 3 and 5mm preload, and the way that you do that is if you loosen off the bottom collar on the spring, the locking collar, and then loosen off the upper one, which I'm going to do now. Right, so there you go. I can move that now freely with my hands. So now you want to basically tighten this lower collar up until it's sort of almost finger tight as such, and then when it's at that point, you want to move up the bottom collar so it touches the upper collar, So that actually gives you sort of a datum for the preload. And now you want to twist the upper collar, make sure you don't move the lower, and increase this until you have your, you can fit the spanner, in my case because this is 4mm, in between the gap. That's just what I thought I'd use. About 3mm at the moment. A little bit more. There we go. So as you can see, I can slot that in there. So that's actually the 4mm of preload, smack bang between the 3 and 5. So you want to twist that bottom collar up, and then come along, and then holding the top collar and the bottom one, you want to lock the bottom one onto the top one, just like that, and there's your 4mm of preload. Okay, so what I just showed you with setting that preload, you want to do that all round. The dampening, the best thing for sort of front wheel drive cars is to have a stiffer shock on the rear and softer on the front, because that actually reduces understeer. And obviously you're going to have to sort of mess about with it yourself to find your correct damping level for you. Obviously that will differ depending if you're on the road or track or off-road, whatever. So yeah, good luck. I hope this was useful. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.